Early access beta for Diablo 4 is coming, and it starts March 17th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. But which class are you going to play? What build are you going to use? There are 3 classes and a ton of skills, and only 1 weekend to play. That is before the open beta happens next weekend, adding both the Druid and the Necromancer. Well, I've got good news for you today. I have 3 leveling builds, 1 each for Barbarian, Sorcerer, and Rogue. That's 3, allowing you to absolutely demolish the beta. We're talking high-octane builds that will supercharge your beta experience, allowing you to demolish everything in your path. Now, these builds can only contain the information that we've gathered so far from the Diablo 4 press preview back in December. The game is still in a beta state, so we expect some small and medium-sized changes to come in with the information that we already know. If you want a more in-depth look at each class, hit the class previews in my Diablo 4 playlist. I'll try to put it somewhere over here. Each class preview goes into detail about everything that we know about every single skill, legendary aspect, uniques, and more. One more thing before we get into the builds. If you would like these skill cards and build cards that I've created, you can find all of these in my Discord server. They're free to download, and they're really handy to have on your phone for reference when you're playing the game. You can find the link in the description below to my Discord server. All right, let's jump into the builds. First up, we have a Whirlwind Barbarian leveling build for you. The gameplay here starts out very simple. At level 2, we take Flay, which is a skill based around dealing bleeding damage to your foes and generating fury. Next up, we take Enhanced Flay at level 3, and at level 4, we take Whirlwind, a fury spending attack that might be familiar to some of you from previous Diablo games. From here on, the gameplay is centered around generating fury with Flay and spending it with Whirlwind. At level 5, we take Enhanced Whirlwind, giving us 1 Fury every time Whirlwind deals direct damage, or 3 Fury against elite enemies. And then at level 6, we take Violent Whirlwind, which allows Whirlwind to deal times 30% increased damage until it is cancelled after you use it for 2 seconds. Finally, at level 7, we head back up the skill tree and we take Battle Flay. Next, we're going to make the Barbarian move as fast as possible. So at level 8, we take Rallying Cry, which gives us and our allies a plus 30% increased movement speed and times 50% increased resource generation for 6 seconds. At level 9 and 10, we take Enhanced Rallying Cry and then Tactical Rallying Cry. By the way, it's worth calling out here that Unstoppable is a particularly strong mechanic, as it makes it impossible to crowd control your character. You'll likely see Unstoppable as a key factor in every single build in Diablo 4, hint hint, foreshadowing for the future. For level 11 and 12, we dump points into Whirlwind, which will increase its base damage. Now at level 13, we take Leap. Now Leap for Barbarian is very, very good for moving across the battlefield quickly. If you're playing with mouse and keyboard and you want to move the maximum distance, make sure that you move your mouse all the way to the upper left or the upper right corners of the screen when using Leap, and your character will move that entire distance. That's right, Leap in this game is just as good, if not sometimes better, than Sorcerer's Teleport. At level 14, we take Warcry, which will increase you and your allies' damage by times 15% for 8 seconds. At level 15 and 16, we head back to Leap, and we take Enhanced Leap and Powerful Leap, supercharging our abilities. Finally, at level 17, we put 1 more point into Whirlwind just to increase that base damage just a little bit more. Next, we're moving on to an incredibly fun skill, Death Blow. Death Blow does have a long cooldown, but if you kill a monster with it, the cooldown will reset. This leads to an interesting tactical choice where you may want to group up monsters such that Death Blow kills at least one of the weaker ones, all while dealing massive damage to the larger ones. So at level 18, we take Death Blow. At level 19, we go ahead and take Enhanced Death Blow, and at level 20, we'll take Fighter's Death Blow, giving us incredible damage to bosses and additional fury. At level 21, we put 1 more point into Whirlwind, which will max out at 5 total points. And for levels 22, 23, and 24, we head back over to the brawling section of the skill tree and take all 3 points in the Booming Voice passive, making our shouts last even longer. Finally, at level 25, you will unlock your ultimate. For the beta, we think Call of the Ancients is pretty good at level 25. Take 1 point in Call of the Ancients, and then remove 1 point from Warcry and respec that point into the Thick Skin passive on the Weapon Mastery tree. And with that, you have a fully complete Barbarian for the open beta. Now, let's go ahead and dive straight into the Sorcerer next. The Sorcerer build here revolves around fireballs and the flame-spitting Hydra and the power of meteors. First, at level 2, we're going to take Frostbolt. We'll also go ahead and take Enhanced Frostbolt and Glinting Frostbolt at levels 3 and 4. Glinting in particular is very important because it will allow us to generate mana very quickly, and we can blast enemies down with our bigger spells that will pick up at later levels. At level 5, we take Fireball. Now this is a large AoE damage skill that does pretty great boss damage. You'll want to take an extra second to group enemies together though if you can, because it is mana expensive to cast. At level 6, we'll take Enhanced Fireball, and at level 7, we'll take Destructive Fireball. At level 8, we unlock the earliest movement skill in the game, and quite possibly the best one, Teleport. Teleport is useful for moving offensively and defensively in combat, and even just moving across the world quickly. When you teleport and you use a keyboard and mouse scheme, make sure that you move all the way to the top left or the top right hand corners of the screen in order to achieve maximum movement distance. You'll find that it's extremely fast. At level 9, we take Ice Armor. Now, while this is great for survivability, we care even more about the enhancement, which gives us 25% increased mana regeneration. So at level 10, we take Enhanced Ice Armor, and at level 11, we'll go ahead and take Mystical Ice Armor as well, allowing us to deal even more damage. Finally, we get another point into Fireball at level 12, increasing its base damage. Level 13 is when we unlock Hydra, and the build goes from casting the occasional fireball to being an unstoppable inferno of fiery destruction. It is mana expensive to cast Hydra, so you want to be careful about the placement of your Hydra. You also want to get used to the Hydra's uptime on screen so you can move and smoothly recast it when the duration ends. Hydra, from this point on, will be your primary source of damage. At level 14, we pick up Enhanced Hydra, and at level 15, pick up Summoned Hydra, and at level 16 and 17, go ahead and point and add those points into Hydra's base skill. Now, when you turn level 15, Sorcerer will unlock their enchantment slot class mechanic. But first, you'll have to complete the priority quest that comes with it. So, when you get this priority quest at level 15, go ahead and complete that priority quest right away. You can start off by using Hydra in your enchantment slot, but at level 18, we'll want to put Meteor there instead. Speaking of level 18, we take Meteor. Not only does this do a ton of damage, it's useful for immobilizing enemies, especially with its enchantment slot effect. The enchantment slot, by the way, also benefits from any bonuses that Meteor receives. So at level 19, we're going to take Enhanced Meteor, and at level 20, we're going to take Wizard's Meteor. Finally, we're going to wrap up the Sorcerer build here by maxing out our damage skills. First, at level 21 and 22, we're going to put points into Hydra to max it out at 5 out of 5 points. And at level 23, 24, and 25, we're going to put points into Fireball, maxing it out at 5 out of 5 points. Now, your Sorcerer will absolutely destroy everything on the battlefield with Burning Fire, and as of now, your Sorcerer is complete for the beta. Finally, let's dive into the last available class for the early access beta, the Rogue. We're going to be going for a ranged-oriented build here that will eventually deal massive AoE damage and will allow you to dash at extremely fast speeds. This build ultimately, at the end game, level 25 end game for the beta, will revolve around Shadow Imbuement, dealing massive AoE damage. So first, we're going to start off at level 2, and we're going to take Puncture. Puncture is a utility skill for us, and it'll allow us to deal some filler damage when our main damage skill, Penetrating Shot, is waiting for us to regain energy. So at level 3, we're going to take Enhanced Puncture, and at level 4, we're going to take Penetrating Shot. We'll also go ahead and take Enhanced Penetrating Shot and Improved Penetrating Shot upgrades at levels 5 and 6. This will cement it as our primary damaging ability. Finally, we'll put one more point into Penetrating Shot at level 7. At level 8, we'll pick up our movement skill, Dash. This skill will help us move around the battlefield and move quickly from objective to objective without hoofing it the slow way. At levels 9, 10, and 11, we're going to dump points into Penetrating Shot, maxing out its base damage to insane levels. At level 12, we'll head back up the tree to pick up Fundamental Puncture, which will now allow us to make bosses, elites, and regular enemies vulnerable with Puncture before bursting them down with Penetrating Shot. Now we're going to head over to the Subterfuge part of the skill tree and pick up our best survivability skill, Dark Shroud, at level 13. We'll also go ahead and pick up Enhanced Dark Shroud and Subverting Dark Shroud at levels 14 and 15. Once we pick these up, this will make us even faster and tankier. Finally, we'll pick up 1 point in Exploit at level 16 and 1 point in Malice at level 17 to further increase our damage. At level 18, we'll finally unlock Imbuments, which allow us to scale up the rogue's damage to epic proportions. Shadow Imbuement here will be our primary focus, because not only will it deal massive AoE damage, but it'll also make enemies vulnerable too. So we take Shadow Imbuement at level 18, Enhanced Shadow Imbuement at level 19, and Blended Shadow Imbuement at level 20. We'll also further increase our Shadow Imbuement's power by taking a few passives. We take 1 point in Potency at level 21, and then 3 total points in Rapid Imbuement at levels 22, 23, and 24, which will dramatically decrease the cooldown on Shadow Imbuement, allowing us to cast it more often. Finally, to finish up our rogue at level 25, we're going to take our ultimate ability, Shadow Clone. Summoning this clone will mimic all of your attacks, dealing 60% more damage. Now, one thing we haven't mentioned so far is that when you play the beta, you'll also be able to acquire skill points from the Renown system. If you get these early, you can go ahead and plug them into the build, and you'll effectively get ahead by 1 or 2 levels wherever you are on your Renown system journey. I'll kind of leave it up to you what you want to do with these extra 2 skill points when you get your character to level 25. We do have some more concrete suggestions in our full article over on Maxroll, link in the description below. But I think for this beta, you might enjoy experimenting a little and trying some new skills out instead. And that's really the entire point of this beta, isn't it? Experimenting with different builds to get a feel for the game is probably the best part of getting early access. But I think if you were to go with one of these above suggested builds, that it's going to be faster for you to level up quickly, and then level 20, 25, whenever you want, you can respec into whatever build your heart so desires to try out. Well, that's it for this one. Are you ready for the beta? What class and what build are you going to play? Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Peace!